This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show, broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Here's Jason Walker.
Yo, happy Monday. It is the Jason Walker Show. Yes, my voice is kind of back. Missed the last couple of weeks because of no voice, and was also quarantined in my house, in my son's old bedroom. So I'll explain that in a second. But yeah, the voice is kind of back. So we're going to start doing shows again. Appreciate those who messaged, tweeted, Facebooked, everything that asking how we were doing. And we are back. And it's looking to be a great week of shows. We've got some great people already tuned in, ready to go. So bear with the voice, and we'll have fun today. Got the tea, got the lemon, the honey, and got the water, got everything. Been doing it for forever now. But welcome back into the Jason Walker Show, presented by us inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Commissioner of the Frontier Conference, Kent Paulson, will join us coming up today. That is because the Frontier came out with some news over the weekend, and on Friday night, actually, that they're going to continue ahead with the football season. And we're going to talk to Commissioner Paulson about that coming up here in about 15 minutes or so. Also, we got some COVID updates from across the country. The Pac-12 players saying, a bunch of them, that they're not going to play. And we'll talk about that. Indiana has a story about a football player and COVID that I want to mention. State Legion's coming up this week for A and AA. The A is going to be in Lewistown, the AA in Billings. It was supposed to be in Helena. City County Health Department said nope. And so they had to move it to Billings, to the hotbed of COVID in the state of Montana, which makes no sense. But we'll talk about that. In fact, tomorrow, John Burnett will join us, the head coach of the Helena Senators, the second place team in the AA. So we'll talk to Coach Burnett tomorrow about the AA baseball tournament. We have Auto Concepts Performance of the Week coming up, and a whole lot more here on the Jason Walker Show. So yes, we are back. The voice is kind of back. And I tested negative for COVID twice. So here's the rundown. We did a show on July 17th. Had Kevin Flato in studio. He was great. We talked about stuff the envelope. Normally stuff the bus, but stuff the envelope. You still, by the way, this week can get to Valley Bank in Helena and help out with school products, school equipment, school everything for kids coming up this school year, if there's going to be a school year. But so that was on July 17th. Played in a golf tournament on the 18th and 19th. On the 18th, we started losing my voice. We played in the Disabled American Vets, the DAV. It was a great time. And on Sunday, I absolutely had no voice on the 19th of the golf tournament. Absolutely none. But it was cool because Saturday night, the night before, I was doing movie trailer voices because my voice was really deep, like in a world. It was really cool. And I thought, man, this would be awesome to have this voice. And then I didn't have any voice from the 19th until this last Friday, the 31st. So almost 2 full weeks of no voice whatsoever. And I'm sure a lot of you were happy about that. I'm sure about that. But the wife probably loved it too. And before I continue, I have to give all the props in the world to my wife and to my 2-year-old, because they took care of me the last 2 weeks. Hot tea, the lemon, food, whatever I need. Because I was quarantined. Because I went on the 20th to urgent care, got the COVID test. And because I had a cough, I had, sniffles, I had all sorts of stuff. And they took the COVID test. and said you're quarantined for the next 14 days. So, okay. Nothing got better. Didn't hear about my COVID test. So this is the week of the 20th of July. The 26th went back to urgent care because it wasn't getting better. Found out I had a double ear infection. And plus the sore throat, plus the no voice. So they put me on a couple of different meds, and the voice started to come back on the 31st. Ear infection apparently has gone away thanks to the meds. Yesterday, woke up in the morning, still quarantined, by the way, in my son's old bedroom. And I got to tell you, I didn't feel good yesterday. I was sweating. I had chills. I'm cold, but I'm sweating like it's 150 degrees. Went back to urgent care. They did some blood tests. They sent me to the ER yesterday. Did another COVID test. Both those tests, by the way, came back negative. Yesterday's test came back today. The 20th came back like yesterday or today. It's ridiculous. It took 2 weeks for a COVID test in the state of Montana in the United States of America. It's absolutely ridiculous that COVID tests take that long. But I digress. They still don't know what I have virus-wise other than a bad throat. But so we got the tea. Like I said, I'm gonna take breaks to sip the tea as we keep going here. But so both COVID tests were negative, and I got to tell you, being in quarantine, it wasn't. It wasn't exactly terrible. Don't let the wife hear that. But it sucked because I couldn't hug my little girl. I couldn't, hang out with her. I couldn't go outside with her. I couldn't go for walks. And like I said, God bless my wife. She did a fantastic job of taking care of me for 2 weeks. The mask it sucked. Quarantine sucked. And I got to tell you, the way I felt for 2 weeks, and now knowing that it wasn't COVID, it's great. But I can't imagine feeling like I did and having COVID. And it changed my mind a little bit about what, not entirely, because you know me, I've been saying we can overreact and think the worst at the same time and still be concerned. But COVID is legit, man. And I don't have it, but I had every symptom. And the way I felt for 2 weeks and still a little bit today, take this for real, man. And the only thing aside from the tests that, I don't have pneumonia, I don't have mono. They came out, they took a bunch of x-rays yesterday. My chest is fine, my lungs are fine, but they still don't know what I have. And we've got a story about COVID, a high school football player, now in college, coming up a little bit later on in the show today. And it's absolutely, the way I felt, I wouldn't wish this on many people. I had legit influenza A last year. In 2019, we, myself and a bunch of the Carroll men's basketball players all got it. We all had flu shots. We still got influenza A. And there's a difference between the flu and influenza. And when you have legit influenza, you'll know it. You'll know the difference. But I wasn't this sick last year with influenza as I was the last couple of weeks. COVID's legit. And like I said, I don't have it. But I had every symptom. And the way I felt for 2 weeks, absolutely insane. And I seriously would not wish it on anybody other than a few people. And then that's mean to say, but it's true. But I got it. It's nuts, man. Take this for real. And I can't imagine those who actually do have COVID, what they go through. And again, I don't have it, which is great. So that's awesome. But hopefully we figure out what I do have coming up. But you're stuck with this voice for as long as we move forward. Hot tea and lemon is my friend. It has been. The wife makes it really well. I taught her how a couple years ago. But I kind of like the voice. I'm not going to lie. And like I said, I played with it on Saturday night on the 18th when I first started getting sick and losing my voice. It was pretty cool. I sent some stuff to Flint Rasmussen. I haven't heard it yet, but I was like, hey man, if you need anybody to voice your stuff, let me know. Because I had that, like, you know those movie trailer guys? Like Don LaFontaine, he passed away a few years ago, but he had the best. It was, in a world where two daughters, 20 years apart, it was so awesome. So it probably didn't help that I lost my voice doing all the practicing of that. But anyway, thank you to my wife and to the little one for helping take care of me the last couple of weeks. And thanks to you guys for sticking with me. And regardless of what some people want to say on the Twitter, publicly and privately, I have a great fan base. I have great followers, and you guys are the best. And we're going to have Frontier Conference Commissioner Kent Paulson coming up next. Just got a tweet from our buddy Steven, said, just call him the commish. No need for anything other than that. He is the commish. He is Kent Paulson, and he will join us when we come back. Don't forget, we have On This Day in History coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about the state baseball tournaments for Legion, A and AA. We've got our Auto Concepts Performance of the Week. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about here on a Monday. The Jason Walker Show, back inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave, and we're coming right back. Stick with us.
Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show.
I'm done with this.
Thinking about trying something new? The Montana Air National Guard has so many exciting career fields to choose from, many that can open up opportunities in your civilian life. The best part? You'll be getting paid to learn a new trade skill right here at home. What are you waiting for? Let's get you in school and get you paid. Contact Leak Fecto at 406-788-8962.
Dinner's Done Right is open and ready for you to stop in and stock up for the summer. How does a Big Sky flank steak sound? Or a sage roasted pork loin? June's menu also includes a Parmesan tilapia and a variety of fantastic chicken cuisines and more. And if that's not enough, Dinner's Done Right's Grab and Go Soup, Salad, and Nacho Bar is back as well, with one exception. The delightful staff now will make it for you. And don't forget deliveries to Bozeman and Great Falls on select days. Stop in at 1212 Cedar Street in Helena or visit dinnersdoneright.com.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Welcome back on a Monday. Jason Walker Show, the first Monday of August. It is birthday month, by the way. My birthday coming up August 30th. The same birthday as one of Coach Lindsey Gustafson's kids on the 30th of August. Remember, we talked to Coach Gustafson back in July about her induction into the North Dakota State Athletics Hall of Fame coming up. Lindsey Graham Gustafson. We are still working on getting Kent Paulson on the phone, the commissioner of the Frontier Conference. Came out with some news last week that they're going to continue their seasons as planned, with the exception of volleyball, which we don't know about. We haven't heard about volleyball's plans yet. But working on getting the commish. And hopefully he'll give us a call back. So in the meantime, before we get the commissioner on, the State AA Legion tournament's coming up this weekend. Don't forget we have our Auto Concepts Performance of the Week on the way. Got the State AA having moved from Helena to Billings because City County Health Department in the Queen City said no. They didn't like the plan that the Helena Senators put forth. We will talk to John Burnett tomorrow, the Helena Senators coach, because it's going to be, it's a state tournament, and Helena's got a good chance of winning state. Split with Bozeman yesterday, but we'll talk to the coach tomorrow, not only about their chances for state, but also why it was moved from Helena to Billings, and why the City County Health Department said no to Helena and their plan. And which is interesting. We saw this in Missoula a couple of times, both in May and then again in July or late June, early July with a couple of tournaments. And the Mavs gotten hosed by their City County Health Department. But it's crazy. It definitely is. And, you know, like I said, I don't have COVID. I got tested twice in the last couple of weeks. Both came back negative, but it's real, man. And we're going to talk a lot about it. And I've not shied away from my feelings at all about COVID. And some of you have agreed, some of you have disagreed. We've reached, decisions to talk together about it, and talk peacefully about it. But let's be honest. Nobody knows enough, and there was a tweet today that came out from Sam Blum, who covers the Texas Rangers and SMU down in Texas, and he shared a Facebook post from a lady named Debbie Rucker. Her son is a freshman at Indiana, and this is what it says, and I'll quote it. My son was negative. So her son's a freshman for Indiana football. Brady. So here's the quote. Here's the Facebook message. My son was negative when he got tested at the beginning of volunteer workouts. Within 3 weeks, he and multiple others tested positive. His university has done everything right by shutting down workouts and retesting the whole team. Unfortunately, this virus hit my son very hard compared to most of his teammates. Here was a kid in perfect health, great physical condition, and due to the virus ended up going to the ER because of breathing issues. After 14 days of hell battling this horrible virus, his school did additional testing on all those that were positive. My son even received extra tests because he was one of the worst cases. Now we're dealing with possible heart issues. He is still experiencing additional symptoms, and his blood work is indicating additional problems. Bottom line, even if your son's schools do everything right to protect them, they can't protect them. I pray my son recovers from this horrible virus and can lead a healthy, normal life. Football does not really matter when your child's health is in jeopardy. End quote. That's from Debbie Rucker, whose son plays football at the University of Indiana. And she said the school did everything right. And he's a 19-year-old kid who may have heart problems. Just like the kid, the Boston Red Sox player, who's missing the entire season. He had COVID a couple of months ago, but it came out that he's got myocarditis thanks to COVID-19. You know, we're learning more and more about this virus, but we don't know enough to be sending kids out willy-nilly to play some games this fall. And I get it. Flu is dangerous. I had influenza last year. Big difference, by the way, between influenza and flu. Influenza is dangerous. Flu is dangerous. But so is COVID. And I said it in March, and I'll say it again. Look, we just don't know enough about this thing, COVID-19. We don't. And you can't be sending your kids out willy-nilly to be playing sports, whether it's high school, college, whatever. You know, I know the Cody Night Rodeos, no issues there with COVID. But there was a rodeo in, was it North Dakota? Where they had an outbreak thanks to the rodeo. Now, I'm not blaming the rodeo. People went to the rodeo, and I've been advocating to go to rodeos all summer long. Because if we get to play baseball, then we should be able to do rodeos. But when it comes to the city county health department moving the state tournament from Helena to Billings and moving it to the hotbed of where COVID is in the state, there are actively 559 cases of COVID in Yellowstone County. Is moving the state tournament there okay? Now, I get it. Legion hasn't had issues, but they also haven't played a state tournament. They haven't had all the teams in the one area. You know, Helena's got 67. Lewis and Clark County has 67 confirmed cases. 130 in the Flathead. Well, you got teams coming there. Okay? We're going to talk more about that coming up. But I want to bring in our first guest on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline, live on the Jason Walker Show. It is Commissioner of the Frontier, Kent Paulson. How are you, my friend?
Good, Jason. Good to hear your voice. I'm glad you're amongst the living.
I am amongst the living. I do not have COVID. I tested negative twice in the last couple of weeks, so that's good.
That's real good.
But yeah, I did lose my voice for a couple of weeks, and you know as well as anybody in this business, you need a voice.
Absolutely, especially if you're a good radio announcer like yourself. That's kind of an important piece. You know, commissioner doesn't really need the voice. You know, my wife kind of acts as a spokesman for us, and so I don't need a voice. But you need a voice.
Well, it's kind of back. I'm running with it as much as I can today, and appreciate it. How's your summer been, Commissioner Paulson?
It's been great. It's been great. I've been busy. If there is a little bit of time where you can kind of catch your breath between athletic years, normally a little bit of time in May, and then, of course, June we have our summer meetings, normally in person, this year by virtual. And then July was always time to get together with the kids over the 4th and kind of catch your breath, and then begin the process with our meetings that we had in conjunction with the coaches clinic. And this year that all got turned upside down, and I will tell you that I've been living in front of a Zoom call, and it's been a little busier, but we're gonna make it. You know what? This time next year, we're gonna be sitting back going, "Wow, how did how did we do that? The organization must have been pretty special to be able to pull through that, and our good institutions getting the kids back to classes. And, there's going to be a renewed interest in students in school, coaches coaching, athletes playing, commissioners. We're all yearning to get back, certainly, to the way it was. And sometimes we didn't appreciate that. And I think there's going to be a real appreciation. Wouldn't you agree, Jason?
I think so. And I've been very vocal since March as Commissioner Kent Paulson joins us, both the fact that we can overreact to this virus, but at the same time still be concerned. And I got to tell you, the last 2 weeks, and again, I don't have it, but the last 2 weeks has really opened my eyes to how dangerous this could be. And it's not just that I lost my voice, it's the fact that I was supremely sick for the last 17 days. And, I don't have COVID, but we don't know what it is. And I've been very vocal that how can we send kids out not knowing enough about this virus, whether, they're healthy or not, they still can get major lung or heart problems. And I know the Frontier has done everything possible to plan for this, and you're going to try to have a season. But when you look at the health, how much concern do you have for the student athletes?
At the very top of our list, Jason, and what you said certainly resonates. You have a real appreciation for all of the people in the world that are really suffering, and families that are suffering. And it's an invisible disease. I guess the whole premise of which we've been operating on is that we're trying to get to the best, but we also understand what could be the worst, and we don't want to put anybody in peril. But at the same time, in the spirit of what we do for a living, and that is to think optimistically and provide the athletic opportunity for the student athlete, provide the education. You have no choice but to, again, plan for the positive. And we fully know. I mean, I said one day, and I say this a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I may very well be more involved this fall with rescheduling events around various county health departments' decrees. Certainly, we know that even in Montana, things in every county are not at the same level. And so we may tap dance around scheduling things just like in a normal year. I'm dealing with targeting calls following football games. That may take second place to us trying to truly get an event off. But I think we'd be damned for not trying. I think that you have to try to provide the opportunity in a safe fashion. And believe me, we're smart enough to know that if we need to pump the brakes and we need to do things in a safe fashion, we are not going to put our coaches, our student athletes, our spectators, our communities in any kind of dangerous situation. But at the same time, part of our health, Jason, is looking forward to that Saturday afternoon football game and that volleyball match. I mean, there's the mental side of this as well, where we're geared as a society to love sports, and our fall sports really kick off what is always a great year. So it's kind of that balancing act where you try to at least provide the platform in which to be positive.
Commissioner of the Frontier, Kent Paulson, joining us here, Jason Walker Show. There's a lot of talk about how to do testing with, student athletes and just students in general when they come back to campus. And the Frontier can't afford it. The NAI can't afford all the testing that a lot of these bigger schools are going to be able to do, like the SEC. So how do you test these student athletes that come back, and how do you test before a match or a game, and the testing afterwards? What's the protocol there for testing? And then if someone does test positive on a team, what's the protocol after that?
Well, I think you hit it on the head, Jason. You looked at the Power 5 conferences, most of them dumped the non-conference games, and it wasn't that they were unwilling to pay the guarantees and so on. Montana State was supposed to play Utah. The list goes on. I think what the real issue is that the Power 5 conferences, just like you said, have the resources in which to check literally daily, and they didn't want to risk a smaller organization coming in and maybe unknowingly having some asymptomatic student athletes and then developing a problem that didn't need to be. At our level, we have to work in tandem with our local. Our community health people are going out of their way to make it so that our various campuses, so we can test in a economical way. Because yes, you're exactly right. Just to have our students tested when they come back to school August 15th prior to, and just to test before the first contest, that doesn't ensure then from that point forward, you have to have a regimen, and we're going to lean on our community health. We're going to work in tandem, as our news release last Wednesday said. We're going to take the very best advice from the CDC at the national level, and darn it, we're hoping that we're working towards the positive end of this. And of course, we all know that's the vaccine. But in the meantime, we're going to test at every available opportunity that fits within our budget, and we're going to do it conference-wide so that both teams lining up can be assured that we're not trying to beat them on the scoreboard only. We're trying to keep each other healthy so we can have a contest. So there's going to be some work in tandem, and people have asked me what are some good things that possibly could come about on this, and certainly one of the things is that it opens up even greater communication amongst our institutions, and it gets people working together, because after all, win or lose on the scoreboard, this is all about the opportunity for our student athletes to compete. And there's that one opening in their life that they reach this point where they're good enough to be recruited, they're good enough to play, and don't we just love as fans watching them play? And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep them safe.
Commissioner Paulson, you talked about the talking between institutions. We know, especially during football season, when the two deeps come out, coaches aren't generally always forthright when it comes to who's injured, who's not, who's playing, who's not. Will there be a frontier-wide mandate that, look, if someone has COVID or is under quarantine, that has to be reported? Other than, we get an ankle injury, was that quarterback going to play or whatever because of, a finger issue? But with COVID, this is different. You can't break your finger and it's not contagious to another player. This is. So how will that be mandated?
We're going to be working through certainly the COP and CAD. We talked a lot about what does this look like, the new normal, if you will. You're exactly right. A sprained finger or a sprained ankle is not communicable. Mm-hmm. This COVID is certainly communicable, and so we're going to be open, forthright. If students have to sit out, again, we're going to work with the community health department in that county, and we've seen it already this summer. I mean, there's been Legion baseball games, for example, in one county. It was a no-go. Yep. In another county, it's a go. Look at the state Legion tournament. It was going to be in Lewis Clark County. It's now moving to Yellowstone County, and so we're gonna probably have that same thing, where a Montana Tech is going to be playing at Carroll College, and one county is a go, the other is not. Maybe the game was supposed to be scheduled at the is not. We may have to move it. We're going to have to be very creative. We're going to have to be nimble. Our athletic directors are going to have to work together. We got a little glimpse of this, certainly not to the same degree, but we worked together, if you recall, these last 2-3 years with air quality issues.
Sure.
And dodging the unforeseen. We're going to continue to work together and make this work. And at the end of the day, if our intent of a fall season turns into a winter or a hybrid spring season, it's not a sin. We tried. It didn't work. We buy time. And the whole goal is, especially for our seniors, to provide the opportunity to be educated and for them to be able to play during their senior year, and for that matter, any of the grade levels. We I guess in a way we didn't know what was happening to us back in March when we couldn't finish our winter season. We got a real strong dose of reality when we had to cancel all of spring.
Yeah.
And we sure don't want that to be the case with fall, winter, and spring this year. We're marking time. We're working every day. We're going to make this thing work. Again, we have to be creative. We have to be flexible. But I think when we look back at this, we're going to realize that our hard work has paid off, and that we're going to get this done. It may not happen exactly the way we have it scripted on paper, but it's something that we're working hard to achieve.
Frontier Conference Commissioner Kent Paulson, our guest here, Mike Miller, State Farm Hotline. When you look at the schedule, and obviously we don't know about volleyball yet, that's going to be announced at a later date, according to the press release last Friday. And, you know, the NAI moving all the fall championships to the spring. Golf is really the only sport not affected by that because golf plays in the spring conference tournament anyway. They do have some tournaments in the fall, but that's not really affected. But it does affect cross country, it does affect volleyball. And with football, you know, that's the big question is we already lost Eastern Oregon, College of Idaho, and Southern Oregon in the Frontier for this year until the spring. If the Frontier plays its 8-game schedule as planned this fall, and then the Frontier Conference champion has to sit and wait 4 or 5 months before you can have a playoff, is that beneficial?
Well, we balanced that out. It was certainly talked about, the idea of if you kick the can down the road, and I'm certainly not faulting any of the conferences that have moved to the spring initially, and then of course the championships followed. But the idea is that you need to try now, and then look at the whole gamut of the year as kind of a one big buy. You know, if you start and you can't complete. Let's take the 8-game non-conference schedule. We've now got, by the national changing the championships to, you know, the late winter, early spring. In effect we open up November and even early December. I mean, we've had football in Montana in the first week in December in the past.
Sure.
Not ideal. We have more of our arenas now that have all-weather turf, which certainly helps. But Montanans are pretty healthy and sturdy group, and we've braved many a day. You've been there, Jason. We know that if we don't get a game for whatever reason in September or October, that we can probably utilize then some dates now in November and early December that were tied up originally with the postseason. And so I don't think there's any danger really of inactivity. I think our schedule, you know, again, we'd have to have the head in the sand if we think that we're going to be able to pull this off totally unscathed and not have to move some things around. There is a possibility too of whoever emerges as our champion. Maybe they pick up a 9th game. Right now, if you recall, the NAA guidelines say that you can play a 9th game. And so maybe whoever is in contention, hopefully more than one team, as we always wish for, but maybe as they look at whenever the championships are set, which is going to be coming out. Right now, the delay, as I understand it, by the NAI in terms of naming the dates for these moved fall championships, they've got to go back to the sites that were awarded those. They've got to go to Grambling for football. They've got to go to Sioux City for volleyball. And they've got to see with these new readjusted dates, are those sites available? So I think that's what's going on right now. It isn't that they don't know when they want to do them. It's, can we do them at those sites? I kiddingly told the NAI, maybe not so kiddingly, but I told them the other day that, we always move to the south in football in December because we know we're going to get better weather. Well, maybe we should move to the north in the spring and early summer if you're going to do football in June. We're a lot cooler up here than they are down in Florida.
That is very true. that is no question about that.
The commissioner always puts a plug in to get events. We've shown with the National Women's Basketball Championship that we're pretty darn good hosts up here. Let's not forget about it.
No, there's no doubt about that, and I'm all for attempting to get a season in because it gives me something to talk about for my show. But I just worry about the safety and the healthy issue of the kids. Another question I have for you, I have a lot of questions for you, honestly, but how much contact did you have with Rob Cashel of the Cascade Conference? Because as we know, they moved everything in the fall, and that includes because of the crossover and football plays in the Frontier for the Cascade, but the Frontier has schools that play soccer and especially softball, but soccer in the fall in the Cascade Conference. Well, now they don't get to play until the spring. How much contact have you had with Commissioner Cashel, and how does that affect the schools in Montana that play soccer?
Well, very much so. Rob and I talked a lot. I mean, that's been the milestone. We've had communication. We work together. I think because of the geographic nature, we've got the CalPAC, we've got the GSAC in California and Arizona. Mm-hmm. It's just natural that we, and I would say that since the associative membership legislation, which, by the way, Rob and I led that legislation when it came to the NAI some years back, and we were able to get that through, which has been a huge benefit to all of our conferences across the country. But Rob and I talk a lot. Rob, I was the former president of the Commissioners Association. Rob is now presently the Commissioner Association president, and so we speak a lot, and we certainly understand that when, for example, like you pointed out, when the Cascade made their decision early for good reasons, they had more schools in that Washington-Oregon corridor that were more heavily affected than we were at that time here in Montana. Mm. But again, you're a conference member. You do what your conference is going to do. To our football situation, we consider the College of Idaho, Eastern Oregon, Southern Oregon. They're part of our conference. Their coaches were part of our media day. They were part of our football meetings. Tomorrow morning, we're having our rules clinic for our football game officials virtually. They're going to be on that call. So we're operating as a conference, and we're certainly in support of what the Cascade is doing, just like the Cascade is in turn supporting what we're doing, because we know that Montana, even though our numbers certainly aren't anything to ignore, as we've talked about, Jason, we're still better than what they're facing out in the Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona, and so we do things for different reasons, but it doesn't mean that they're wrong or that we're right. We're simply operating on what we think are best practices given that situation for your league, and so it's a win-win. We're behind each other certainly, and our football coaches and our soccer coaches have spoken to that.
I brought this up the last month or so, and schools moving early. All the schools in Montana are starting August 17th, and all this. Here's my big concern, and I'm going to be flat out transparent with you. We're great friends, and here's my worry: when kids come back to school, they're not coming to Rocky, Carroll, Tech, Western, or Northern from just Montana towns. They're coming from California, Oregon, Idaho, Washington, Idaho, Arizona. where there is a lot of COVID activity in those states. Those kids are now going to be coming to Montana in 2 weeks. And I think we're going to have a big blow up. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But what's the contingency plan for all those kids coming? And it's not just the athletes. There's students that come from all over those states to Montana because we have great schools in the frontier. But is there a contingency plan? Because I think we're going to see a huge explosion of COVID numbers in Montana around the 1st of September when everybody comes back to campus.
And, Jason, I couldn't disagree with you. I mean, if we had that crystal ball, you and I'd have a lot of answers. But I can take our area here in the Flathead Valley, which is very similar to your area in Lewis Clark County, certainly Gallatin County and Bozeman. If I'm playing license plate bingo in Whitefish, Montana this summer, I know I've seen all 50 states, and so. In effect, we've had that trial run of people coming from other states, just like you pointed out with students coming from other states. I think our colleges, our institutions, we're certainly working hand in hand with the philosophy of opening up our schools to site learning, starting our athletics, and trying to make this work. But their concern is every bit as poignant as our concern on the athletic side. And so you ask about a contingency plan. I think the contingency plan probably goes like this, where some classes that you can do and deliver online, go to that. Carroll College, for example, has had a huge number of students that were on campus all spring last year, even after campuses closed. And they did their very best for social distancing. They continued their studies from their dorm room. Food service continued. So we've had a little bit of a trial run, but I think the next phase would probably be partial online. If it went to the next level on the rung of the ladder, I think it probably goes back to online. We're a business. We're just like the restaurant. We're just like the various businesses on Main Street. And so we're trying to keep that business open, but in a safe manner. And we know that we're going to have to make adjustments most likely. You've seen where restaurants have closed for a quarantine period. We may have to shut down, and that's going to certainly affect them, the athletics piece of this. It's a mountain that's very steep to climb.
Yeah.
But darn it, we're going to at least put our hiking boots on, and we're going to set out on the trail to see how far hopefully we can move. And there's part of me that just says that it's an innate piece to Montanans. Not that we're daring, and not that we're going to be foolhardy, but darn it, we're going to give it a try. And if we have to, the safe zone would be to move it to a hybrid season, move it to a spring season. And Jason, you could ask the same question about, is it going to be any better next spring?
Yeah, nobody knows.
We don't know.
Nope.
We don't know. And so I think that I just want the people that are listening out there, and, the parents certainly of our college students, to know that it isn't like we're on some, tightrope walk here that we're daring to fall off. We're simply trying our best, and we're trying to be safe. We've evaluated things from every angle that we know, and you just can't be faulted for trying.
Sure.
But we're also smart enough to know that if you have to pump the brakes, we're going to do that.
Let me ask you a couple final questions for Commissioner Kent Paulson. When you look at the schooling, let's say Western has to go all online and Tech has to go all online, but Carroll and Northern and Rocky or any combination can still go to class or online plus in-person learning. Are you going to require, is the Frontier going to require that student athletes have to be on campus in class learning or the hybrid learning? What if it's all, what I'm saying? Like when there was campuses were closed, there was going to be no sports. Is that going to be the same, or is it just we got to go week by week here and see how this goes?
I think you hit it exact. I mean, the COVID testing could very well throw things out of sync where one team or both teams can't play. The instructional piece is tied directly to that. I mean, we know why we're here. It's called student athletics.
Right.
And if the student piece is not allowing it because of the COVID, then that's going to be one of those factors that it's going to enter into to moving a game. I mean, you know, for the very reason we talked about last spring, if you don't have students online, it's kind of like what's happening in the California system. The Big Sky, I know, is going to be making a decision much like we made last Friday. They're going to have a decision that needs to be made on tomorrow.
Yep.
And you know, they're in a situation where they have 8 states to consider. We have 3, but 2 of them have already made their decision. Right. So essentially, we're a pure Montana system, if you will, for football as well as all the rest of our sports. But the obvious to me is what you said, Jason. If we can't go to class, we can't play sports, and so that's just another thing that we're going to be looking at. And again, we may find out real quick that we just have too many things facing us where this isn't going to work. It doesn't mean that we're defeated. It doesn't mean that it was a bad decision. It just means that we're smart enough to know that we're not going to put people in harm's way. Mm-hmm. And we also know that we have another time in which we hopefully can make that same contest up. Let's not forget about we got the advent of forest fires coming up here to stack on top of COVID, and we've already worked around those, as I mentioned earlier in our interview. And so we're just gonna have to be very, very flexible. And again, if the contest is canceled for a multitude of reasons, doesn't mean it was a failure. It just means that we've got to go to work to find a common date. And if you have enough of them in the fall, you know automatically it's going to turn this into a combination of probably late fall and spring. And of course, the answer to all of this we know is the vaccine that we're all hoping for, and we can put this behind us, and we can sit back, like I say, we can have an interview. And I hope you call me next year this time where we can look back and say, man, we made it through that.
I'm hoping I still have a show by then.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. You're going to have your voice back and you're going to have your show.
Well, I appreciate that. Hey, I got 2 final questions for you. Commissioner Ken Paulson here. If there is a football season and if it plays in its entirety in the fall, 8 games, why or would that champion be without College of Idaho defending its title? Is it kind of do you have to put an asterisk by it?
No, we've defined the conference, as it's played out. We've defined the conference as being played by our 5 teams now. The ratings will continue throughout, the fall, winter, and spring, so to speak. The rating system is still intact, and we would hope then we're going to play for the automatic qualifier. The win-win of this is that the 3 schools that are part of our Frontier Conference that are hoping to play in the spring, there's still an avenue now that we've moved that championship to the spring. There's still an avenue for them to qualify, and to qualify, you're simply rated, and you must be in the top 20 to be considered.
Right.
So it's possible. We know that those 3 schools are going to play each other home and away. So that's 4 games. They're probably going to be able to pick up some D2, D3. They're going to make a schedule, and anything I can do as commissioner to help them with that schedule, we're going to certainly do that. And so they have a pathway to the national championship. just like our 5 teams that are going to be playing for the conference. And so, even though we're segmented, we're still under the name Frontier Conference. And gosh, it would be awesome to think that we could get multiple teams in. But we're still going to be granted our AQ, as we refer to it, our automatic qualifier. We're going to be granted that as long as we have a team in the top 20, and more so, of course, in the top 16. So that whole template of rating is still going to go on. It's just that not everybody is going to be being rated, if you will, during that same time frame as we normally have in the fall, because we know we've got conferences that are going to be playing in the spring as conferences. And what I thought was a positive of the NAI moving the championships, and we voted, by the way, as a conference to move the championships to the spring, because what that did is it opened the door. There's a crack in the door now for the College of Idaho, Eastern Oregon, and Southern Oregon. And darn it, we want those student athletes to have that opportunity as well, just because we're not doing it in a traditional fashion.
Right. Will fans be allowed in the stands, or is that? I mean, obviously, it's going to continue to be on the governor's phases and the city county health department. But as of right now, what's the fan situation going to look like for all the sports this fall?
Well, our first choice is we need our fans. We not only need them as the great supporters of the Frontier Conference that they are, but we also know that the seating is going to look different. Their entry into the stadium is going to look different, and you've hit it on the head, Jason. It's going to be certainly mandated by where we're at, by Governor Bullock. It's also going to be mandated again by our county health departments. First choice, let's get the fans in the stands. Mm-hmm. If the Big Sky on Tuesday says we're going all to the spring, I'm hoping that we become a focal point of television where we can provide that opportunity for people that can't or don't feel comfortable coming to the games to be able to watch them on TV. We have our webcasting. We have our good radio people that fill those webcasting audios. But right now, again, our first choice would be to have, and that's going to vary by county. Again, we're back to, maybe this school can have spectators, another school in another county can't. We're going to have social distancing. There's going to be a whole different thing that we can put together. But a football stadium is we can get good spacing. I know the NAI is talking about extending the sideline to the 15-yard line instead of the 30 on each end, so we can get groups, smaller groups. They're talking about restricting the number of players that can be dressed out, home and away. Certainly talking about a lot of hygienic stations that we can keep kids even more healthy. Quite frankly, Jason, probably the healthiest part of a football game is the 22 players on the field.
Yeah.
They've been tested. They're out there playing. They're socially distancing, at least in their formation, to a point. They're moving around constantly, and so it's probably more the sideline and the spectator area that's of greater concern. But our trainers have been working collectively to have a baseline for our league so that the home and the away team can know what to expect. And so they've been working hard since March as well. And so every group has been doing their part. We hope that the part leads to a positive whole.
I appreciate your time, and you've always been very honest with me, and I love it. Commissioner Kent Paulson of the Frontier Conference. I hope everything goes off without a hitch this year, man. I hope that we can get a season in for these kids and for everybody. I'd hate to be in your shoes. I can tell you that. I don't want to be making those decisions. But man, hey, if you go back to TV, if you get a lot of, I'm a free agent now, so put the word out that I know the Frontier. I can do games for you.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And
well, Jason, this is my 48th year that I'm starting in in education and in athletics, and I know of no greater challenge, but I also know that part of the fabric of people like me and certainly many others is that we can do, and I think that people that know me or know our coaches, our athletic directors, our presidents, they wouldn't expect any different. They would expect us to be trying our darndest, which we are. And there's certainly a lot of responsibility that goes with our decision making. But I think overall, this is our expectation of ourselves, and there's a lot of experience here. And I can't go so far as I've seen this one before. We've dealt with a lot of tough decisions in my career, but we've always been able to kind of peek around the corner to see what's out there. And this has been an interesting one, in the fact that you may have to peek around 2 or 3 corners, but we're doing what we think is right. And in our hearts, I just want our people, our parents, our student athletes to know that in our hearts, we're trying to do the very, very best thing, and we're gonna work collectively, but we're gonna certainly work open-minded.
Like I said, I appreciate the time, and it's always a pleasure to catch up with you. I'll probably be talking to you in a month or so when football games get going and everything's a positive. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe up there in the Flathead, and we'll talk to you soon.
You bet, Jason. My pleasure. Always great to visit with you, and Godspeed. Get healthy, my friend.
I'm working on it, sir. That is Commissioner Kent Paulson of the Frontier Conference, the commish, joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. Appreciate his time. And, who knows what's going to happen? He said it. We said it. We just don't know. We hope there's a fall sports season, but we don't know. And I said this, in June. I said it in early July. We have basically 3 options. We're either going to not see sports at all this fall. We're going to see sports practices start, and then when that big blow-up comes the first part of September, everything grinds to a halt. Or we're going to, I guess there's 4 options. Or we're going to complete the season, or we're going to get a couple of games in, and then there's not going to be a season. And who knows? Literally nobody knows. But I can tell you that I'm wishing for the best. I am. I just don't know how we can feasibly have a sports season. I want it. I just don't know how safety-wise we can physically do it for all of our student athletes and our students. Let's be honest. They're going to come back to campus too. So we got the little one laughing out here, but all right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, wrap things up. As we do, we send you to a live look at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as tropical storm or hurricane Isaias is getting ready to make landfall in the Carolinas tonight. We'll be right back. Wrap things up. Jason Walker Show. Stick with us.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $289. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Final segments on the Jason Walker Show. Going a little long today. First show back in a couple of weeks after being out with sickness and quarantined. I don't have COVID. Do not have COVID. So that is good. Here inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Gave you a live look at Earth Cam, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's looking nasty. Is it a tropical storm now? Or is it a hurricane? Category 1. I don't know, one of the two, but is it Isaias? It looks like Isaiah, but Isaias, I think, making landfall tonight in the Carolinas. So take care down there, south and north. All right. By the way, Mark LaRoe Photography, he put some great stuff up. He was out Bob Marshall Wilderness for a couple of trips in July. And go to marklaroephotography.com and purchase anything, and you'll get 20% off and free shipping. Is that right? You get the free shipping? You get 20% off. But you mentioned the Jason Walker Show. And if you book a senior, he did senior portraits and family portraits with a couple of friends of the show, and saw those on Facebook over the weekend. But they look good. And if you want your senior portrait or family pictures done, get a hold of Mark LaRoe Photography, marklaroephotography.com. And we've talked about this picture. That was taken at Ennis on July the 3rd this year during the prayer before the national anthem in the Ennis NRA Rodeo. So get that. You can purchase that. And you get free 8x10, by the way, and canvas matte or canvas matte print by mentioning the Jason Walker Show. All right. We talked a little bit about the kid from Indiana, which is absolutely nuts. A 19-year-old kid from Indiana football who, super healthy, got COVID. And according to his mom, Debbie Rucker, the kid's freshman Brady Feeney is a freshman offensive lineman. But he's got heart problems now after contacting COVID. And he was hit hard by this virus. And the school did everything right. Everything. The mom even mentions that in her Facebook post. And you look at that, and I want a fall sports season, but I don't know how we can send our kids out there not knowing enough about this virus. We just don't know. And, the Frontier's planning on going ahead, and I hope it succeeds. I really do. And it sounds contradictory. It sounds flip-floppy. It's not. You can be overcautious and over-concerned, but you can still be concerned. You can overreact and be concerned. There's a lot of talk about sending kids back to school, period. 260 employees in Georgia's largest school district have either been exposed or tested positive for COVID-19. And that's a lot. Think about this stuff, folks. We don't know. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to talk to John Burnett, coach of the Helena Senators. They moved the AA State Legion tournament from Helena to Billings this weekend. It starts Wednesday. The State A tournament will be played Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday at Lewistown. And we'll run through some of those matchups tomorrow as well. And we'll talk about the Pac-12 tomorrow. A bunch of players saying they're not going to play for both COVID and also racial equality issues. They want a whole lot. They put out like 17 demands. We'll talk about that tomorrow as well. All right, let's get to On This Day in History. Oh, by the way, your Auto Concepts Performance of the Week is our two winners of the East and the West State Legion A titles over the weekend. So that's our Auto Concepts Performance of the Week. Congratulations. 13 St. Louis Cardinals players and staff. 8 players, 5 staff have tested positive for COVID. St. Louis will not play a 4-game series this week. They will not play again, the Cardinals, until Friday. Major League Baseball has a serious issue with COVID-19. We saw the Florida Marlins, then the Phillies. There have been so many lost games already in a shortened 60-game season. How does Major League Baseball continue? It's going to be interesting. Today is August the 3rd. It is National Georgia Day. It is National Grab Some Nuts Day. Take that however you want. It is also National Watermelon Day. This day in 1852, America's first intercollegiate sporting event took place. Harvard heavyweight rowing crew beats Yale by 2 lengths over the course of 2 miles on Lake Winnipesaukee. 1906, Washington Nationals pitcher Tom Hughes becomes the first pitcher to win a 1-0 extra innings game off his own home run. 1914, Yankees catcher Les Nunemaker threw out 3 Detroit Tiger runners trying to steal second base in the first inning. It's the only time it's ever happened. 1921, Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis gave out lifetime bans to 8 Chicago White Sox players accused in the Black Sox scandal from 1919, despite their acquittal by a Chicago jury. Jesse Owens in 1936 on this date won the 100-meter in front of Adolf Hitler, the big famous race at the Berlin Olympics. First of 4 gold medals for Owens at the Games. 1984, speaking of the Olympics, L.A., Mary Lou Retton, perfect 10 in her final vault to win the individual all-around, becoming the first American woman to win an Olympic gymnastics medal. 1996, Andre Agassi won the men's singles title in gold tennis at the Atlanta Olympics. In 2003, British Open, Annika Sorenstam completed the career Grand Slam by winning by 1 shot over Sabri Pak. Happy birthday today to John T. Scopes, famous for the monkey trial. In 1995 and 1900, he was born. And in one death, 2008, Alexander Solzhenitsyn passed away, the Nobel Prize winner. Skip Carey died on this date in 2008, the great Atlanta Braves broadcaster. All right, let's get to this. I miss this music, by the way.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
With that music and this voice kind of flows together, right? A little 70s, all right, the walk-off presented by Cafe Zydeco. Stop down 625 Euclid Avenue in Helena, also in Bozeman and Billings. Breakfast beignets. Didn't have one until a few weeks ago. I've never had a beignet until a few weeks ago. So good. So good. The wife says they're better hot. We had them kind of cold, but Cafe Zydeco. We got gift certificates to give away, too, coming up as well. All right, what did we learn? Well, we learned that the Frontier Conference is gonna try to go with seasons in both cross-country, all cross-country golf, volleyball, and football. Volleyball schedule will be announced at a later date. We will find out tomorrow if there's going to be an FCS season. Possibly. Find out tomorrow. And I think Commissioner Paulson from the Frontier maybe hinted at something. Will the Big Sky move to the spring? Keep an eye on that. We'll know tomorrow, possibly, what the Big Sky is going to do. Will there be an FCS season? What are they going to do for the playoffs? Plus, found this out today. Mookie Betts from the LA Dodgers has signed a big old contract. He's missing tonight's game because he has a swollen finger. Oh, poor Mookie. How about you be a bull rider? Talk about a broken or swollen finger. Yeah. Mookie, get out there and play. Suck it up. You just signed a big-ass contract. Be a man. Don't be a wuss. Special thanks to Commissioner Kent Paulson joining us from the Frontier. I do not have COVID. I have a little bit of a voice. Tomorrow, John Burnett from the Helena Senators will join us, and a whole lot more. We'll see you back here at 4. It is the Jason Walker Show. Damn, it's good to be back. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.